the Italian Football Podcast.
How far can Inter go in the Champions League? Like, do we think that Inter can win the Champions League?
Can they win the Champions League? I mean, I think absolutely they can win the Champions League. Will they win the Champions League? I mean, it'll be very difficult, but I think that the ingredients are there. I honestly think that the only thing Inter are lacking is depth in attack. That's it. That's what I think. I think after Lautaro and Thuram, Inter just the threat level just plummets without them. And if Inter can be lucky and have these two fit and on form the whole season, great. But if one of them was to get an injury, like in March, then I think that probably stops Inter from being a challenger to win it. I do. And also, some games you need players to come off the bench in attack to change the game, and some games might go to extra time, and I think that's the only thing, that's the only shortcoming. But everywhere else, I think Inter tick all the boxes. They've got a great manager. They've got the experience. They've got to the Champions League final, 2 years ago. They've got the hunger to win it as well. We know how much it means to them, and I think they've got the quality. They've got one of the best defenses in the competition. They've got depth in defence. They've got depth in midfield. I think that the qualities are there. Just the only thing that they're lacking for me is depth in attack. That's it. Otherwise, I think they're absolutely they can battle it out with anyone. I do think that, yeah.
I think I don't agree that Inter don't have depth in attack. I think, like I said, for the reasons I said before, I think it's too soon to say anything. My issue is if Calhanoglu gets injured. If Calhanoglu gets injured and misses Champions League knockout games, then no, Inter can't win. We saw yesterday. It was when Calhanoglu's on the pitch, Inter tick. He's become the new Brozovic. When Brozovic was having a good day, Inter had a good day. When Calhanoglu has a good day, Inter have a good day. That's how important Calhanoglu is at Inter. That's how fundamental he is for Inter's balance, the way that he can alleviate pressure in defense when holding the ball, covering the ball, drawing free kicks, the way that he can start attacks, the way that he is the spider in the web when building from defense to attack, dictating the play. He's a reference point for everyone else to know where they're supposed to stay on the pitch, where they're supposed to go, whether they should push up, whether they should drop, when they should push up, when they should drop. All of these things, that's Calhanoglu. So for me, the way I look at it is this. If Hakan Calhanoglu is fit, Inter do have a chance to win the Champions League. Absolutely. But if Calhanoglu is not around, if Calhanoglu is going to be injured or for whatever reason, of course, Lautaro, Thuram as well, but I'm talking about from structural balance and structural solidity in this tournament, he is unbelievably important for Inter. He's fundamental for Inter. Inter can win games by, outscoring their opponents, even in games where they're not good 100% in defense. They can win games that we've seen in the Serie A. They can win games and they can score for fun, and outscore by just simply scoring one more than their opponents in those games. But you can't do that in the Champions League in the knockout stages. You need to have solidity in both phases. And I think that kind of stability, that kind of solidity, that kind of balance, Inter only have when Hakan Calhanoglu's on the pitch. And it's just like you said, he's such a classy midfielder. His passing, his intelligence, his set pieces, the fact that he hasn't missed a penalty in 8 years, 19 in a row, how calm he is, and so mentally strong he is. That's something that I think is very underrated about him, is his mental strength. He's so strong mentally. He has this calm about him, which he spreads to everyone else in the team as well. I think Barella is probably a better midfielder, or is a better midfielder. He's technically superior. He's more complete. But we saw yesterday that Inter can win without Barella at this level. But I don't think they can do so without Hakan Calhanoglu. And that, to me, suggests is just a manifestation of what I'm talking about, of how unbelievably important he has become. Yesterday, that performance against Arsenal was reminiscent in very many ways of when Inter beat Barcelona at home when Brozovic was injured and Calhanoglu first played as that central defensive holding position when he was outstanding, when he scored the only goal of the game in that game as well at the San Siro against Barcelona, which gave Inter the edge in qualifying from that group. It was very reminiscent in many ways, in the way that Inter, sacrificed everything to win. But the key in that game was Hakan Calhanoglu, and that became the start of the Champions League campaign, which led to the final in Istanbul. Well, yesterday, to me, that was the start of Inter's Champions League campaign as well. At least that's where we are now, and they should be able. Hopefully, Inzaghi is able to channel that energy into the weekend and beyond. That now the season starts. Now Inter start kicking in, and that coincides with Hakan Calhanoglu coming back from injury, Hakan Calhanoglu coming in and showing what a class holding midfielder he is for Inter. And as long as he's fit, as long as he can play at that level, then I think Inter can go toe-to-toe with any team in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, the form and injuries and shape and all that will be important by the knockout stages, and also a bit of luck of who you got. But I think you also need to look at the other challengers. How strong are the other challengers right now? And I think that also, I mean, things will change. We're only in November. Things will change by March.
Absolutely.
It's too early to say this, but if you look right now at some of the other challengers, well, the champions Real Madrid are a complete mess, as we'll come on to in a minute. They're a complete and total mess. And Manchester City they just got hammered 4-1 by Sporting Lisbon. A lot of problems going off the pitch with the court case where they could get they will surely get a massive points penalty at the least, and we don't know what else. And they've lost Rodri, who is Calhanoglu is their irreplaceable player. I mean, we take Rodri out of that team and you lose
Ballon
so
d'Or.
much. Well, yeah, won the Ballon d'Or. So you lose that, and they just look. Pep Guardiola's last season, they're probably in an in-between season physically. That's all I'll say. You can read from that what you want. So I think Man City look more vulnerable as well than they have done in previous seasons, and they're probably the two best teams. So you take those out. Arsenal. We've seen Arsenal. We know their limitations. They're probably a little bit short. Liverpool look strong. Barcelona looking really, really good this season as well. So those two teams are going to be dangerous. Bayern Munich, I just don't trust their manager, Vincent Kompany. Of course, they're always in edge. PSG risk going out right now. They've got work to do. They've only got 4 points from their 4 games, so they have to be very careful. There's a chance they could even be eliminated. They should still go through, but there's a chance. And I don't think that without Mbappe, I think they don't look the same. So when I look at the kind of like the other contenders for the Champions League, well, why can't Inter challenge against these teams? I'm talking as a neutral here. I don't see anything that they should be really, really fearful from. But again, come March, things will change. Everything will change by March. And I expect Real Madrid
100%.
certainly to be a lot better by March, and they'll be there or thereabouts again. Madrid, I'm sure they will be. But right now, they look a mess.